Welcome to AI TV. We're broadcasting live from AI Expo Africa 2020 online, calling it the COVID edition. We've had to take the whole conference into the virtual world, and we've had to do the same with AI TV. Now, one of the upsides of that means we can talk to people all around the world. We had vendors from all over the globe at our show, and we also were very proud to welcome Alex Tsado from the Alliance4AI, which is a Pan-African community, which he's been building diligently over the last couple of years. And Alex is joining us from San Francisco. So Alex Tsado, welcome to AI TV.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, the clue's in the background picture there, Alex. You're joining us from West Coast, USA. So thanks for getting up early and joining us for this edition of AI TV. Now, Alex, you and I share a common passion, and that is really about building the African AI community and not only telling the good news African innovation story, but also helping people get inspired and understand how they can become part of that journey. I mean, do you want to give the viewers a little bit of a kind of summary about AI in Africa and where we're heading with it?
Mm-hmm. AI in Africa. It's a vibrant community of people who are very, very hungry for knowledge, hungry to solve problems. These are young folks who super energized, self-driven, self-motivated, picking up these new skills and new tools and hungry to solve problems with it. It's really exciting. I mean, it couldn't be more exciting than a hackathon with 1,000 people that happened mid last year in Tunisia.
That's right.
They literally needed a whole stadium to hold all the people who showed up to this hackathon in Tunisia. And that's how vibrant the AI community is in Africa.
Yeah, look,
I'm sure you have more questions. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I mean, Zindi is another community that's also evolved there. The Zindi Data Science Challenge Platform, which is essentially the Kaggle for Africa. They launched at our show in 2018, and they've now got 18,000 members, and they are solving some pretty amazing challenges. And they're linking up with communities like yours, communities like ours, to really make it such an inclusive journey and to inspire many more people about AI. Now, can you just summarize a little bit to our viewers about the Alliance4AI? How many members you have? What kind of people are in your group?
Mm-hmm. Alliance4AI is Alliance for Africa's Intelligence in general. It came about a little over 2 years ago when we discovered that AI was developing differently in Africa, and because it was developing differently, the rest of the world was missing out on it. In America, AI came from the large tech companies. In Asia, it came from the government, and quite similarly in Europe as well. And so when the global, powers were looking at AI in Africa, they were looking to the universities and the top tech companies and the government to see what was happening as well. And they completely missed the fact that AI was actually happening in the associations and communities driven by the common people, the grassroots. And so when we found out, we decided to create Alliance for Africa's Intelligence to be sort of a central organization that would bring together the AI communities across the entire continent. As of today, we have about 80 associations registered on our platform, alliance4ai.org. And now we're able to bring them together. That's just a start. And then you start to engage them and make them collaborate. Simple example of something we do is we have some of the leaders of these AI gatherings or AI communities join a gathering every 2 months and discuss, just go from handshaking to discussing very crucial problems that they're having around curriculum or figuring out how to get jobs for their people they're teaching, or figuring out what's AI ethics and how should I introduce that to their people. So that's the kind of work we're doing, where we bring together these communities, we help support their learning, we help support innovation with their startups, and we then take that information back to their governments and say, look, this is what your people are thinking about AI. Here's how you can write your AI policy.
Well, we'll make sure there's a link in the video notes below there, Alex, so people can find out a little bit more about the Alliance for AI. How many members do you guys have at the moment?
It's a hard thing to say because we reach the members of our members, right? We target the leaders of these communities. So in that sense, I can say there are about 80 leaders of communities. But each community has anywhere from 50 people with our smallest communities to Data Science Nigeria that has over 10,000 people, which is one of our largest communities. And so then we have that reach of over 100,000 people.
Yeah. So I mean, I mean, obviously we've built a business-centric community. There's all sorts of different communities across the Africa region, and I think that one of the key things that I've always said it from the very beginning, the very first time we launched our show, and the message hasn't changed, is really it's about collaboration. You know, communities of communities. That is the key to sharing knowledge and getting people inspired about, you know, that this revolution is part of something you can join, even if you have, you know, fairly frugal means at your disposal. There will be someone who's willing to help you. There will be someone who's willing to introduce you to someone. Someone willing even maybe to mentor you, and it's actually through the Alliance for AI or AI Expo Africa, Data Science Nigeria, Zindi, that you can join these people. And if someone doesn't have an answer for you, someone else will, and they'll often introduce you to someone who can help. So I think that's a very strong core that runs through the African AI community. Looking at the future, Alex, so I mean, we've all been chipping away at this for sort of the last two and a half years, and I know Bayo Adekambi, who runs Data Science Nigeria, you know, he has this vision of training the next 1 million data scientists in Africa over the next 10 years, which is a grand vision, but he's well on the way to achieving that. I mean, do you think Bayo and the Data Science Nigeria model is a model that you can move to other countries in a fairly generic way?
Definitely. It will need some tailoring as it goes to different countries, but definitely a lot to share, right? When we have this AI gathering I mentioned about that happens every 2 months, you find that very naturally some folks show up and say, oh, we don't know how to get on television and do some more PR. And then they meet someone like Alfred from Kenya, who's like, I've been running podcasts and TV shows for the past 2 years. I can teach you. It's exactly what we're looking for, that kind of cross-border collaboration and sharing, right? And so with Data Science Nigeria, like you mentioned, people are talking about they don't have access to curriculum that they can, you know, tailor to people. But Bayo and his team have, you know, built AI curriculums from ones appropriate for the business executives at largest telcos and banks to AI book for kids who are less than 5 years old. And so he can totally share that through a platform to associations and organizations in other countries.
Yeah, I mean, one of those, I mean, we tried a few new concepts this year. One of them was to have a youth-focused area at the event. I know we had Alliance for AI, Data Science Nigeria had a booth there. We had some local groups as well that are focusing on youth development. But yeah, I mean, you know, I think we have a responsibility as well, I guess in the spirit of Ubuntu, to, you know, to share. I mean, it is about sharing the knowledge. And, you know, traditionally, I think, you know, I've been in the tech space for some years now. You often see knowledge sharing as a means of giving away power, but actually by giving away knowledge, you're actually helping people become empowered. So I think that's very much something we need to be mindful of as community leaders. So
yeah, before you ask your next question, I'll say that's actually one of our 3 key principles. You know how you have like the church, right? They have the 10 commandments. At Alliance for Africa, as it says, we have 3 commandments, right? One of them is hashtag one brain, which means we all have to be connected as one brain and work together as not just Africans on the continent, but, you know, also underrepresented people across the entire world. We have to work together. The second one is love, hashtag love. We have to work to reduce suffering with whatever skills we pick up. If we have that as something to guide our progress, I think that would be pretty good. The third one, which relates to what you're saying, is hashtag each one teach 2. So whatever you learn, whatever access you have, share it with 2 other people, and you will find that it will come back to you from 10 others, right? So there's power in sharing.
Well, that was one of the big drivers for the appeal of the platform that we use for this edition of the show, because the 2-day business event and all the content and all the booths and all the posters and everything that's in that event, we can now share for free. And that vision that we had about sharing knowledge and information is now something we want to do through a communities to communities approach. We give people access, let them go in, let them go through the agenda. They can listen to your talk, Bayo's talk, Karim's talk, talks from all over Africa, and actually talks from all over the world, actually, not just from the African continent. So again, I hope your community and others take advantage of that. So moving on to the future, Alex, where are we heading as a continent and a region?
You see, things are coming together. Things are coming together. 3 years ago, the folks from Black in AI in America and the folks from Deep Learning in Daba decided to start the first conference on the continent for AI researchers. I believe they had around 250 people. Fast forward to today, their conference now holds over 1,000 people. Your conference is now reaching over 5,000 to probably 10,000 people by the time we're done with this on-demand program. You have a Data Science Nigeria's Zindi is now reaching 20,000 people.
That's right. Yeah.
It is growing. It is, and all the pieces are coming together. You're now starting to, you have a custodian like us at Alliance4AI, picking up all this information, bringing it together and putting it in front of the government, the African Union, and saying, look, this is what the Africans are saying about AI. They have voices from outside, from Germany, from America, from Japan, from China, telling them what the rest of the world thinks about AI. We are bringing that voice from the African grassroots and saying this is what the Africans are thinking about AI. And together, hopefully by 2021, we should be able to put out a blueprint or a framework of how we can use the AI technology in Africa, but in an African way. If you allow me for about a couple more seconds, I would say,
please do.
AI is nothing but a tool. It's nothing but a tool. Technology is a tool, and you decide what you want to do with it. You know, in other parts of the world, they may have decided to use AI to automate everything and make people lose jobs. In Africa, we could do very, very different. We can use AI to solve essential services and create millions of jobs. I mean, imagine now having a diagnosing tool on your mobile phone, and then you can empower more health workers to go into villages and help diagnose many more diseases than are possible today in African villages. You can enable and create millions of jobs with AI, and I urge listeners to please do that. Don't copy what's being done in other continents. Let's do it the African way.
Yeah, I think Karim, in his presentation around the different models that are in the different regions, like you mentioned, we're not using it for mass surveillance. It's not being used in perhaps what people would couch as a kind of negative way. We need to look at the positives from the potential that we haven't unlocked yet. We have a different kind of population. We have countries in varying degrees of maturity in terms of growth and stability and essential services. And there is an opportunity. Maybe there's an opportunity. I think the number one criteria that the Kenyan government put in their strategy, which they released last year for AI and blockchain, was to help use these technologies to eliminate corruption. Now, eliminate corruption, you may actually find there's a hell of a lot more investment that goes into society and that society can gain from that, rather than the money disappearing in nefarious ways. So I think, as you say, it's a tool, and if we use it in the right way, we can, accelerate things in a very, very positive direction, and perhaps not in a negative direction that we're seeing elsewhere in the world. So just to wrap up, Alex, have you got any final thoughts that we can leave our viewers with about AI in Africa and the communities we're building?
Go watch the on-demand videos. You have less than 30 days to do it. Go watch them right now. In fact, I think, Nick, you've ruined my life for the rest of my employees because they're reaching out to me, asking me to do stuff. And I'm like, wait, give me a moment. I'm just watching this other talk. I'm stuck on my TV now, I'm trying to watch all the talks, and it's super informative. I've learned so much. Incredible innovators from across the continent on there, and it's really exciting content.
Well, we'll wrap it up there, Alex. But yeah, thank you for your support. I know we've had multiple conversations. We've been working on other little projects on the side, bringing together people. I think the one message I want to leave with people is that, you know, include Africa in the narrative, the global narrative. We've been left out, East and West and North, all having this dialogue, and we've not really been part of that dialogue. And I'm very passionate, as you are, that we project that positive narrative out around the world. And I'm just really happy that you and I are working together on that, and that we can reach many more people.
Exactly. Thank you very much for having me, and I hope you and everyone watching has a great day.
Thanks a lot.